Parshas Pinchas. Just before your year here in seminary begins, I want to say a short idea which I think can be very beneficial to your year of learning here in Eretz Yisrael. Parshas Pinchas tells us how HaKadosh Baruch Hu praised Pinchas for his zealousness. That's Bekanois Kinosi B'Soichem B'Lechelisius B'nei Yisrael B'Kinosi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has tremendous words of praise for Pinchas. Rashi at the end of the last parsha tells us, Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, says Rashi, what's Vayar? Says Rashi, Ro'o Maisa v'nizka halacha. Pinchas saw what happened, the immoral act that took place, v'nizka halacha. And I once heard that we can learn from Pinchas a very vital lesson in the way we learn Torah in general. Very often, a person can learn Hilchos Shabbos, all the details of Hilchos Borer, all the details of Hilchos Losh, all the Hilchos of Hilchos Dosh, and even in a test one can get 100%. But when it actually comes Lemaisa and the cholent pot's on the stove, or there's a question which comes up in Tefillah, or whatever it may be, or in Musa, how to deal with a certain set of scenario that's supposed to come up, then all of a sudden, for some reason, we can't handle it, or we don't know the exact halacha. The reason is because we haven't learned from Pinchas. Ro'o Maisa v'nizka halacha comes about because whenever he learnt something, whenever he learnt Divrei Torah, he always tried to visualize when appropriate, or use his imagination to try and create a scenario in his mind that he could see or work out a different set of circumstances that would come out lemaisa from that halacha. And every time he would learn, for example, something to do with Hilchos Bishul, he would actually picture exactly what was taking place with the pots, Keli Rishon, Keli Sheni, so that when the scenario comes up, he would actually be able to immediately Ra'ah Maisa v'nizka halacha. So it's highly advisable when we learn Torah to afterwards reflect on what we've learnt and to actually try and picture and try and imagine in our minds scenarios that could come about from the information that we've learnt, be it in halacha, be it in Musa, be it in everything else that we're learning. And that way it will become an actual part of us so that when the circumstances arise, we'll know exactly how to behave in the appropriate manner. Reb Chaim Kanievsky had a stroke a couple of years ago, and he lost the capability of writing with his right hand, and the physiotherapist afterwards tried to help him learn how to write once again. And he gave him an empty piece of paper and a pen, and to his surprise, Reb Chaim Kanievsky wrote, Yekum po kol min shamayim. The God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the one who brings the salvation from heaven. And the physiotherapist was flabbergasted. He said, you're the first person who's had a stroke, and I gave him afterwards to practice writing on an empty piece of paper, and you're the first person that didn't sign his name. Everyone else, when you've got nothing else to write, you sign your name. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky smiled at him and said, the Gemara in Ksubah says very clearly, you may never sign your name on an empty piece of paper, because somebody might come along and write on top of it, I owe you $1 million, and you got your signature there, and you're in trouble. Ra'ah Maisa v'nizka halacha. When he learnt the Gemara in Ksubas, he pictured and he viewed and he imagined all the different circumstances that could come up, so that when halacha was actual, he knew exactly how to behave.